All right, so here we have a play. Brian McCann is going to pick off a runner at second. There were two outs. The runner at second was probably doing something with his secondary lead where he was getting too far or getting lazy, getting back to the bag after the pitch is thrown, or maybe he was unbalanced. Whatever it was, Brian McCann noticed something, and him and Derek Jeter had some sort of signal between them to put this type of play on. I'll play it in full speed first, so you can kind of see what happens, and then I'll help explain it and analyze it and show you where in a game as a base runner you need to be careful, and also as a catcher or shortstop you could look to make a play like this happen. So McCann gets pitched. It looks like he's going to throw it back to the pitcher, and then pop. Jeter's right at the base. Now, the thing here, we'll start with Jeter. Here he is waiting for it, but he's getting there. Jeter's not running to this bag, most likely. Obviously, I didn't see another camera angle of this, but having done this play before as a catcher, usually we had our shortstop kind of walking behind him. Shortstops are usually walking that way after the pitch anyway, maybe backing up the bag or backing up the mound, whatever. Not necessarily on the grass, but at least taking a few steps over. You never know if the ball gets past. So it should be as a shortstop, it should look very casual at this point. You're just walking towards the bag. As he comes up to make his throw, because the catcher, if we look at the catcher from this point, right about here, it just looks like he's going to throw the ball back to the pitcher. And then now we start to see, boom, okay, this is a little too much to be throwing the ball back to the pitcher. You'll take his head off. And he unloads it to second base, and then, of course, Jeter will be waiting there once that throw gets in. This guy's out by a ton. So let's go back to the original setup. All right. Before this pitch, there should be some signal between the shortstop and catcher. Also, I've had this happen. I picked off a guy where the shortstop kind of just broke on his own, nice and slow, nice and casual, and perhaps I'll do a demonstration video at some point just to make this a little more clear, because obviously I don't have a visual for you to understand what I'm talking about with that shortstop kind of just creeping over there casually and then waiting for that throw. But I've had that happen where a shortstop just went over on his own, and I kind of read it, and I was like, oh, this looks like a good time to throw him out. So that could have happened here as well. But it's always good to have a signal if you want to do it before anyway. I think it should be a sort of automatic thing, whereas if you see a shortstop sees a guy taking big, a catcher should see it already, and they should already be looking to pick that runner. Shouldn't have to take one of them giving a signal, but nevertheless, you don't want to come up throwing and the guy's not at the bag. So it's good to communicate. But this is what a lot of catchers do in this situation. And this is a huge mistake you'll see at younger levels. And it actually took me until I really got to college to begin to start to pick off runners like this, or at least look to pick off runners like this. I would usually come up out of the crouch kind of just like a throw a second. Boom, it would be fast. By now I would have unloaded the ball. All right. And what I realized, base runners, the second they see some movement out of the ordinary where you're popping up like you're about to make a throw to second base, they're going to go back to the base. They're not going to get fooled for that. They see something out of the ordinary. Obviously, you're not throwing it back to the pitcher. It's time for them to get back. What you want to do is lull them to sleep. So Brian McCann just takes this. I mean, right now it really just looks like he's about to throw that ball back to the pitcher. He's taking his time. This isn't his footwork on a play to second. And all he's just doing is setting his time. And at this point, maybe this is where a runner was putting his head down or doing something else. Where he unloads. And what you really got to factor in at this point is if you want to make a throw like this, you have to think from the time you cock your arm, which is right about here. Now right here, let me slow that down. In this position that McCann is in right now, this looks like he's about to throw the ball back to the pitcher. Or he could throw it to second. There's really nothing that's going to tip anything. All right. So what you have to factor in as the catcher and the shortstop is from this position, can your catcher get that ball to second base before the runner gets back? Now, I'm not sure what the exact time on the stopwatch would be on something like this. I maybe should have timed it before, but you could do it for yourself, and you could kind of factor in it. If it takes, let's just say for argument's sake, 1 second from where the base runner is, in a secondary lead to get back to second base, and it takes .09 or .90 actually for Brian McCann from his release point to the bag, which I don't know if that'd be great or what. I got to think about that for a second. But if Brian McCann's throwing time from that position right here to second base is faster than the runner can get back, then it's an automatic out. All you have to do is make a good throw, and that's really what it comes down to. You want to take a throw like this in a situation where you're going to get the guy. Don't use it on one where you're like, well, I'm not sure if I can get him, because you want to use this as a surprise. The second you do this and a guy's safe, the team's going to be ready for it. So use this wisely. Use it when you need it. Once again, I wouldn't use it. Let's say you're playing a team within your high school conference or division, however your league's set up, and you're winning by 10-0. That wouldn't be the time to do this, because the next time they play you, maybe in a bigger game or in a closer game, you're not going to be able to do this play because they're already prepared for it. So you got to use it at the right time, and that's really just part of it. But if you look here, I mean, this play, we'll go through it a little faster.